Good evening, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Comic Crack. It's Sunday. I didn't read too much today, so it's probably going to be a shorter Sunday wrap. So it's finally happened. I now officially have had COVID. Still kind of going through it. Early last week, my wife tested positive for COVID, and then it kind of started. I could feel it coming on throughout the week. Wednesday, I kind of worked half a day and worked the last half of the day from home. Thursday, I took a sick day. I was feeling like shit. And then Friday, tested positive for it. Feeling a little kind of achy and sweaty now, but honestly, there's a part of me that's kind of just, I've got it. I've gone through that hurdle now. I've got the vaccines and now I've got it. And, now I'm not that I was worried about it before, but it's one of those things you just know that you're going to get it at some point. And I just kind of wanted to just get it out of the way. So we'll see. I'm assuming I'm going to be off. We have COVID related sick days at the office, so I'm going to be off for a few more days, most likely. I haven't tested myself this weekend. The last time I did was on Friday. I didn't feel the need to kind of do any rapid tests this weekend. It's not like we were going anywhere anyway. Today we did some work out in the backyard, and that felt pretty good to get outside and things, but definitely kind of limited energy. So because of that, I didn't read a hell of a lot this week. I just couldn't do it. I sat down here a couple of nights and started getting into something, and it just really wasn't working. I wasn't really understanding what I was reading. I didn't really have any interest, so I just kind of left it. So all the reading that I did was kind of earlier in the week, and hopefully I remember enough of what happened in those books to at least give you a little something. We didn't do a Sunday chat this weekend either, but we're hoping to come back next Sunday, and Comic Board, Matt will be on with us. Blackpole, is that the other name that he uses? I think Blackpole is it. Hopefully he'll be on with us next Sunday. Hopefully it'll be all four of us, me, Damien, Rasa, and Matt. So it'll be on somebody's channel. Maybe I'll have it on mine. Maybe I will host this week, or maybe we'll give it to the new guy. New guy, if you're in the chat, let us know how you feel about that. Hello, Longbox Diver. Thank you very much. I'm feeling much better already. It was great to see that part one of your video the other day from this incredible sale that you hit. What was it? A fill a long box, and it was $100 or something like that. Is that what the deal was? I'm assuming that most of the books because you said you picked up well over 100, did you say 130, 160, something like that, an insane number. And it seemed incredible. So I'm imagining that a lot of those books there were without bags and boards, I'm guessing. And if that is the case, some of them looked in amazing shape. Really, really great looking stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of that video. Hello, Gorvidal. Yes, so I assume that's yes, that they were unbagged and board, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, that sounds like heaven. On Twitter this week, 171 comics. Wow, 171 comics and 5 graphic novels for I think you said $60 American. It's an amazing $60 or $70 American. That's an amazing deal. A lot were unboarded and no bags. Okay, yeah, nice. I was on Twitter this weekend. John DaCosta had posted pictures from him going out to, I think it's the Warehouse of Love is what it's affectionately called, and it's tons of long boxes, and it just looks like absolute heaven in there. Man, it looks fantastic. So I'm always envious when I see those kind of stockpiles and warehouses filled with books. Okay. So 3 books to talk about. I'll talk about that in a minute. Finally. Oh, GV. I too acquired 100 comics this week. Trying to upload now. Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome, man. You did a video about it too. I'm guessing is what that means. You're trying to upload the video. The first thing, the saga of Elf Face, issue number 1. I had issue number 3 that I found. I think I found it here. And then 1 and 2 were kind of on my wish list on Lone Star. The last Lone Star order that came in, it had this. It's giving me a hard time. Yeah. Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you because it's been too long since we've seen a Gore Vidal video. So I finally got into this one, and when we talk about these black and white, this is 86. When we talk about these black and white boom books and kind of people throwing anything against the wall to the hoping that they'll have some sort of hit or hoping they'll cash in. Again, this isn't one of the kind of insane ones. Even at the time, it was $1.50. Considering some of the prices we've seen on some of the other black and white books from around that time, this one does, though, feel like, hey, let's just get this out here. Because even in the intro piece, he talks about where this stuff appeared. It appeared in a newspaper, I think weekly. And he even says in the piece itself that don't judge him by his art here. Tim Freudlich, I think. Don't judge him by his art here. It's gotten so much better. So even sort of bashes the art in a nice kind of way within the introduction here. But this is a really strange kind of story. They're these beef patrol people. They work for the McDonald's Corporation, and they're going around and they kind of, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of shit that's outlawed. I can't figure out if it was, or I don't remember rather, if it was meat that was outlawed or whatever it was exactly. But our main character, our Elf Face character, has a partner that's a robot. And it's a bizarre little book. It was fun enough to read. I don't know if, I'm going to have to find number 2. I got to have the trilogy. As far as I could see, Exeter Entrance Studios was the company. As far as at least what was on Lone Star, this was the only title that this company published. I haven't dug into that too much beyond that. There's a real mashup here too of, you could see some kind of tracing of a face that kind of stays the same throughout the whole thing, but it looks like it's a scan that's just kind of put in there. It's filled with kind of the stuff that I do love. This one didn't kind of have that extra spark though. I think one of the best things about this book was the poster, which we've looked at before, or the pinup, sorry, an official Elfie pinup. Out of the frying pan and into the dumpster, as he jumps on all sorts of comic books there, and you can find your favorite titles in there, like Superman, like Moon Knight, like Raphael, I think that says, Elf Quest, Thor, Fantastic Four, Love and Rockets is in there, Dalgota is in there, all sorts of stuff that he's jumping on, that's just been tossed into the bin there, into the garbage bin. So yeah, fun enough. Some really unusual looking pages. I am a bit curious to see, like, if he's not a fan of this art and this artist did develop, I am kind of curious to see where this guy ended up. I felt like there was a couple of other panels here I wanted to show you, but maybe not. This last page was pretty good too. So yeah, fun book. If you can find it for 50 cents, give it a shot. I mean, it's called The Saga of Elf Face, for goodness sake. And then there's the cover for number 3. That I don't need to remember the first thing that happens in this 3rd issue. Other than this, I do remember this page. So there you go. That's that one. Not too much else to say about that. One that was surprisingly good. Again, I seem to be getting into Matt Howarth stuff more and more these days. This is Uber Dub from Brave New Worlds, and this is 1991. So this is a 3-issue series based in Bugtown and based around Savage Henry and his band, the name of which I'm blanking on right now. Cthulhu is in it. Conrad Schnitzler is in it. And one of their team members, well, 2 of their team members rather, appeared to have died. And all hell breaks loose, and everybody goes in search. So we start off, we get an introduction to the Bulldaggers as the band. So there are many strange things about Bugtown. It's the place of anarchistic laws of physics, where the dead regenerate and the living travel between alternate reality levels. It is the home of the Bulldaggers. There's one now. So they can travel through alternate realities and kind of enter our reality, enter other realities. And in so kind of transitioning through these realities, they can change their shape. They can adapt, which I had no idea about. So it was kind of good to get a little bit more of Bugtown. But Howarth's stuff is really great. I really like what he ends up doing with textures in the background. I think it was more so in the 3rd issue. And there's Conrad and Cthulhu spending their time in the recording studio. They're continually recording new music for the band and archiving stuff and wanting to put out albums. And the thing that turned Cthulhu from being this evil entity was synth rock. He's a big fan of synth rock. And once he discovered it, I think he says in the last issue, once he discovered it, he knew he had to change his ways and he had something to live for. And I do like whenever Cthulhu hand looks, Luke, speaking of, how are you? When that happens, he gets some different lettering there, which is pretty great. Let's see. Let's flip to the 3rd issue here. The story itself is good. It's entertaining enough to keep things moving, but here we go. These backgrounds, so they've gone to this other reality, and Savage Henry has multiplied into, he's broken up into, there's 4 here, but there's actually 5 versions of him. And I love the backgrounds here on this kind of rock structure that's, I think they're underwater at this point. But I love all the line work on that. Sat and stared at this page for a little while. Really nice. And he does it to great effect throughout this issue. Just this background kind of makes an appearance through a lot of it with these white kind of lines of light and water kind of creeping through the panels. And this as well too. So it's almost kind of bubble texture, not quite pointillism, but it has a similar kind of effect as that, because it's not as detailed, but there's just lots of like little bubbles and little bumps and ridges to make up that image in the background. Really, really nice. This was the strongest of the 3 issues, and it was mostly for the artwork, but there he is again with his different lettering every time he speaks. So really good. I went back to Lone Star actually after reading this and just started putting together a just adding some more stuff from Matt Howarth from Brave New Worlds onto the list. There was a few mini-series that Brave New Worlds put out of his that I wouldn't mind getting my hands on. So, and they're all in this kind of Savage Henry universe. That's, I'm pretty sure anyway, the ones that I saw on there and ended up bookmarking. And then there, I Wake. Pretty nice there. I think that's it for that one. So that was good. So that was Uber Dub. Shout out to John Sitret, Joan and Jello. We all know him. He had a great video a while ago about Matt Howarth and related books. So big shout out to John. And then finally, for tonight's video, Um, man, am I glad I got issue number one. This whole book so far makes a lot more sense with issue number one. So this is Dimension Z by your friend and mine, Rick McCollum. I had issue number two for a while. Issue number one was another purchase from Lone Star. I think there's a third issue out there as well too. I don't believe it exists. I haven't seen any proof of its existence. So I think this might be it from it. And honestly, when it comes to McCollum stuff, like after reading this first issue and rereading issue number two again, this is right up there for me as some of my favorite work. This is really, really great. An interesting enough story. This guy who's, again, this traveling universes and realities and dimensions, this time through sleep and getting some tests where he kind of enters this world where there's this daughter and her mother who are kind of like these rulers, and this child is kind of the one that's in charge and kind of pulling the strings, and just has this real evil slant to her where they're going around and conquering, and she really wants to acquire an earth human as kind of her pet to some degree. But again, they can change their form for the different realities, and it's more based, this one is more based on people's perception of them. So it's how people see them in these realities, how they're going to present. And then here's what they look like here. So when they come in, that's how they look to everybody else. And then they change shape for us so we can see what they really look like. And she's an evil little brat, this one. And Mom just seems to be kind of along. Hello, Damien. But it's really, really good. So our main character kind of enters this world through a dream, as they're sort of, he's going to get tested on by this scientist, and they're going to prove this existence of these alternate realities. And as they're doing a test, the test is happening to somebody else on the planet or in that reality where our mother-daughter team are doing things as well too. So they end up trading places, and sort of the usual all hell breaks loose. He gets to their reality and sort of kind of has a moment where they're trying to integrate him into their kind of world and into their sort of military, I guess, to kind of be a conqueror like the rest of them. He ends up fighting back against it and joins a resistance force for about 2 pages before abandoning them as well too. Because of what they're going to do. They're building bombs, and they're going to just go and kill a bunch of people indiscriminately, even women and children. He has a military background and has seen some shit, is what you get the gist of. So he abandons them as well too. It's quality shit, and ends up drinking with this hobo in a back alley. But I love this, and this is McCollum kind of near his prime. So this is 1986, the golden age, 1986, and yes, he really does pack it in. There very well may have been a pope in there, Gore Vidal. There may have been in one of those pages, but his artistic powers are on high, and the story I find very interesting as well too. I think it works for this, and it works for his sensibilities as an artist. And he gets to play with a bunch of different shit too, especially in the second issue, where he starts getting zapped from dimension to dimension, which we've looked at before. We'll take a quick look at it again. But in the scale of kind of, this is right up there with Ashley Dust. This is right up at the top there. Here we go. And again, with pages like this. This is from issue number 2. Yeah. My weekend indeed, yes. Getting zapped from reality to reality. Where do we have a... Yeah, here we go. So this is a kind of page where he just keeps getting zapped from different realities and different dimensions there. So Really great stuff, though. I hope I'm wrong, and there is a third issue of this. I'm going to keep my eyes out, but I think that no fucking way they did a third one. I don't think this happened. This is Pyramid Comics. Theone is the one that we've looked at from there. And again, shout out to John. This is the shout out John video today, because he was a big fan of Theone as well too. And I think there was an Omicron book as well too, from Pyramid Comics. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question, especially some of this stuff. I feel it's a little still kind of, I don't know if it would fit. I don't really know. It might fit a little more with kind of the self-published and very small press stuff. I don't think it would have a place on the shelves with the indie books now. I don't think this kind of stuff would survive. But then even in that world of self-published, I don't know if it would survive there either. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it has a home in like the floating world, Silver Snail. But again, it's Silver Sprocket. I think Silver Sprocket is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it does. It shows 3, but it doesn't have that image. And I've done image searches online too for Dimension Z, and I haven't come across a cover anywhere for that third issue. Yeah, because I got them. That's why. They ain't there anymore. They're mine. So I'm not sure, Gore, how they would survive in today's market. I feel like they would be out no matter where you tried to put them. They're still really their own thing, because I mean, they are, some of this, or a lot of this stuff is ultimately trying to be kind of a mainstream-ish type of thing, even though some people are more comfortable with their indie cred or whatever at this time and wanting to do their own thing. They were also trying to create their own market that a lot of these books just never really found, which is why they didn't survive. For me, what's more interesting about it, or what makes me curious, is why didn't a guy like McCollum, especially dipping his toes into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles world, why didn't he become a bigger artist? I've been reading some stuff. Russ Works has talked about Lynx in the past too. I did some digging, and he's kind of like, one of the things that he was referred to in the main kind of article that I read was, he was referred to kind of as the Kirby of the indie world, just because of his output and because of his style. And that's actually the other thing I read. Eros Comics did a 4-issue miniseries called something from McCollum as well too. I don't have the images handy. What the heck was it called though? I'll tell you in 1 second when all this opens up here. It's called no idea. I don't remember, and my Twitter is on here. I have it. Anyway, he did a, nah, don't got it. The Darker Side of Sex, that's what it was called. So it was 1995, 1996, I think. The Darker Side of Sex, a 4-issue miniseries, and that was an intense read. Again, like with some of the Eros stuff from Fantagraphics, it seemed that there was this, the kind of main objective was to do some sort of like adult or pornography based stuff, but you got these artists that were doing they were bringing something else to it, and McCollum really brings something else to it. I don't remember if he was the sole creator. I'll open up an issue here on my computer, but there's a whole bunch of kind of fetish things going on, but there's also, there's a dark, no, it's so written by Kathleen Hurley is the writer's name, and then inside art by Rick McCollum and Bill Cavalier. Yeah, and like I said, 1995 was when the first issue came in. So it's a good one, and if you can find it digital like I did, for those of you who are fans of Soulseek, if you type in Eros Comics or you type in Rick McCollum, You'll get some stuff. I would recommend Darker Side of Sex. It does get it's really graphic, but it's a really interesting look at kind of relationships and these fetishes and kind of like this subtext of kind of just intensity. It really starts, and the way the 4 books are paced are really pretty good, actually, for what these comics are. Again, it just shows these creators and people that he was working with wanted to bring something a little bit different to it. I would say Theone is a fun one there, Damien. The story itself, I remember it being pretty good, but honestly, the art in Theone was kind of worth it. So it's a post-apocalyptic story. Star Wars meets Game of Thrones, or something similar, are the pitches I often hear when describing a book people like. I head for the exit. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, and that's why we have our corner over here of YouTube there, Gore, because we can read other stuff. So yeah, Rick McCollum, again, every single video I talk about this motherfucker, and I appreciate your patience with it, but I'm really taken by this guy, and I want every single thing that he's written and drawn and everything. So I'm still on the hunt for more. I keep searching. So yeah, that's recommended. And then the other ones that I talked about already this week, I did do a video where I talked about Habitat, and I talked about the 3 issues of Crooked Teeth. Both highly, highly, highly recommended when we're looking at kind of self-published and things. I can't recommend these enough. Crooked Teeth is a fantastic read. These 3 issues, 6, 7, and 8 especially. The story, this Blood and Thunder story that runs through that, really, really great. Okay, D, we'll talk to you. And then Habitat and Department of Art. All of this stuff, I think I got all of these at one time or another from Domino. So check out Domino Books for those. And then watch that video and you can see more details. That's it. Short one tonight. Not much else to talk about. We'll see what I get into this week. I do have my comic shop, a small order coming, hopefully this week, because I want to get into. I see that Matt Comic Board has been reading Fringe as well, so I want to catch up to him. I'll have the first 6 issues, I think, or the first 5 issues. I don't remember, but I have a few of them coming in the mail, so I'm hoping they get here this week so I can have them read, because I'd love to talk to him about those on the show if we have our chat next Sunday. In the meantime, thanks very much, Gorvidal, Damien. Nice to see you. Cthulhu Han Luke, always a pleasure. And I'll get in touch with you early this week there, Cthulhu. Longbox Diver, great to see you. Thanks very much for coming and hanging out. And post some more of those videos, man. I want to see what else you got. Maybe give us if you're up for it, maybe give us a 45-minute one. Loaded one video, the other is taking a while. Sweet, that'll give me something to watch tonight. Chris, Chaos and Comics, how you doing, man? You're just here for the sign off. We'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good week.